Well, hey, everyone. We are live. We're so thrilled to have everyone join us tonight. We look forward to our Thursday nights, and Michael and I are always excited to see everybody's comments and what their feedback is later. So I'm Tia Knapp, in case you don't know me, and this gentleman next to
I
me.
am Dr. Michael Gross. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I
Thank
too look
you.
forward to this, and I'm really excited. We have some wonderful information to share with you, and we have some future information that I believe you're going to find very empowering and exciting. So stay tuned for future times with Tio and I. I call them podcasts. We call it Facebook Live, whatever you want to call it. Someday I'll get it straight. But thank you for joining us.
It doesn't really matter. We can keep our brains scrambled with all the terminology. I mean,
Absolutely.
we're that generation, right? We actually, I used to read Dick and Jane, that book, Dick and Jane. I don't know if you remember that, but I do. And their dog Spot.
Yes, I remember that.
So, now everything, technology has changed so much in our world. So, um, anyway, we were really, really grateful that you decided to pop in and invite your friends because we do this every Thursday night at 7. Michael has phenomenal messages for us. And I'm going to go ahead and get right to the meat of the matter and introduce you to this phenomenal young man right next to me.
All right.
Okay. Dr. Michael Gross is an author, professional keynote speaker, transformational coach, and an entrepreneur. For more than 3 decades, he's been on a spiritual path as an intuitive, a healer, a spiritual counselor, and an incredible teacher. Through the guidance of spirit, Michael has assisted others in their personal quest for self empowerment, helping them to create the lives that they have long sought and to bring forth their intuitive abilities. Michael currently teaches classes in spirituality, self empowerment, Reiki, and other modalities. In concert with God, the true source, he has also achieved great success and miraculous healings. He remains humble, knowing that the work that he does all comes from God, the true source. Michael lives in Lakewood, Washington, and has launched his nonprofit. Michael, why don't you take a minute or so and just let people know about it?
The International Institute of Self Empowerment, or as we call it, TISE, TIISE. It's a 501c3 nonprofit, and we have what I call the 12 arms. And because of the work that I did with TU and she allowing me to be her transformational coach, I realized about how women and children and men are terribly abused. And I'll let her tell her story later on. But because of her expertise in it, I've asked her to honor me to be director of that division of the International Institute of Self Empowerment. So I thank you for agreeing to do that. There'll be lots more information as time goes through. I know those who follow us say, yes, it's been a while. Yes, it has been a while. But in setting up something, you learn a lot. There's a lot of things you go through, and we're getting closer and closer to our goal, and that is to help use women and children. So I just wanted to share this with you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Michael, let's get right to the meat of the matter because um, this is part 3 of a series that you're doing.
Yes.
And it's called, you ready? It's called My
I'm
Role
ready.
in Life. So,
So,
I'm going to mute me out and here you go.
okay, my role in life, this is part 3. And as I was talking to the true source, or some people would say God, the true source, which is synonymous, our role in lives is very, very important. So, just to reiterate, you chose to have a physical body. And through the physical body, you begin to experience life. Because in your soul body, you couldn't smell the trees, you couldn't taste chocolate. You feel this unconditional love, which is so incredible, hard to describe. But you cannot see into the joy of a birth of a child or a baby, or even play a sport or whatever you do. So here you have your body and your role in life. And no matter what age you are, whether you're age of reason, let's say in the age of reason is when your teenage years or your college years or older, there comes a time that each one of us, it is incumbent upon us to lead. And by that lead, I mean to lead, to set example. Not only to set an example, but to supply what I call critical thinking, reasoning, and to understand their direction in life as well as your direction in life. And remember, whatever your belief is today, 10 years from now, it may change, probably be enhanced, or maybe it'll be discarded, and maybe there'll be a new belief system. But that's part of the progression of life, learning what works and doesn't work. But realizing in life, there's a payoff for everything you do. You eat too much food, you gain weight, right? You drink too much, you might become an alcoholic and destroy your liver. You don't have enough joy and happiness in your life, and you will actually come down with being a diabetic, believe it or not, because there's no sweetness in your life. So there's so many things that go on, and you can take your body and you may strain it and cause back problems or whatever you're doing. What I wanted all of you to understand is that you're all in charge of your body. But no matter what age you are, what I call the age of reason, it is time for you to begin to listen and listen to the thoughts of your soul and be a leader. Leader's so important because as we look around, so many souls are sheep. And sometimes I heard another newscaster use the word sheeple, which is people that are like sheep. They follow. They don't reason, they don't think. And that's what's such a shame today. And I had a very dear friend of mine say to me, is there any news program that I could listen to that will just tell the facts and the truth? And I looked at him and said, I don't know. I don't know of any. Now, I'm sure there must be some, but I don't know of any. And that's because when we listen to the news, it is somebody's opinion. Well, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you say, this is my opinion. But of course, they don't do that. And then if you don't follow the rules of the crowd, well, then you're an outsider and you're criticized and you're judged. But here's the point of being a leader. And that is listening to your soul and doing what the true source taught me. Right action, doing the right thing, and correct exchange. So not only right action commands and demands you do the best that you can do. And even if you make a mistake, right action says, okay, you made a mistake. Own up to it and say, listen, I made a mistake. So this is what I'm doing to correct it. That's a true sign of a very adult, enlightened soul. The other part is when you lead, you share some of your experiences. But you only share it to those who will listen. Because the others, and we all know them, they wrote the book, I call it. They know everything and know it all. I had a dear friend and his wife, I would mention something. I know that. I know this. I know that. It's all I would hear from her. Well, everybody got sick and tired of being around her because she knew everything. Well, it's impossible to know everything because we learn. And that's the beauty about life. You learn so much and you grow and you have experience. Part of our life, we are to share our experiences in such a way that it's not controlling, demanding, but merely say, well, what is going on in life right now, let me share what went on in my life and my conclusion. And if it fits, fine. If it doesn't, fine. But no expectations, no attachments. Because all we are doing, even what I'm doing here, or you write a book, or whatever you're listening to, or even you're listening to a doctor or whatever, we're all planting seeds. What are seeds? Seeds are planted in your subconscious, and they begin to grow and nourish. And then as they grow and nourish, it gives you wisdom. But the important thing is to differentiate these seeds. Are they helping you grow or are they limiting you? That's something we don't really think about. I have studied very many years about illnesses. And illnesses come on with an emotion, which translates itself for the body to be dis at ease, which dash ease, which comes to a disease. But it starts with an emotion. And that emotion comes down to the very basic self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem. Here you are in your life now, and you have all these experiences. from the day you were born, if you can remember them, and I can't remember all of them, probably very few of them when I was born at a younger age, up to your current age right now. But all these experiences are planted in your subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind has a way of bringing up these emotions and blocks. And all of a sudden, you have an epiphany. Oh, when I was 7 years old, someone threw something at me and they said I was stupid. Now I understand why I can't do well in school, because I believe they said I was stupid. Or perhaps they said, like my mother said to me, Michael, you can do anything. And I carried that through my life. Now, she didn't say it once. She said it over and over and over many years until, I was 18 or 19 and went away to college. But she kept saying it, maybe once or twice a week, maybe once or twice a month, but it was always there in my subconscious. And I realized in my challenges of life, I go, I can do this, I can do this. And it's because, as you heard me before, saying that I was under the belief that I could do anything. Well, I'm not going to waste your time and tell you what I did, some of the hot water I got into. But even I could, the message, I could do this, even when I'm on hot water, I figured out I can do this, I can get out of hot water. So the solutions of life are within us, and it's up to us to lead. How do you lead? Well, you speak to someone, or you lead by example. And too many people, too many souls I talk to, want to get recognition. Well, I do all this, and they don't recognize me. And you have to stop and ask, why? What is it you need? If you're doing the right thing, you don't have to get approval. You know whether it's right or wrong. And that's something we have to learn about. To you, I know you want to say something.
I did, yes. Along with what you're sharing when your mom was telling you that you can do anything, there's also what came into my mind was that fear limits us. And that fear is actually like in our subconscious mind that can come out and rear its ugly head over and over and over again through our life. Can you address that a little bit?
Absolutely. So, there are two kinds of energies that I say, and I exaggerate. There's love and anything that isn't of love. So if we look at love, joy, happiness, and positivity, and we flip the coin, and it's not love, it's fear, it's doubt, and insecurity, or whatever. And there was a very, very person I was close to, and they said to their daughter, and she was about 7, she said, I want to become a child psychologist. And her mother said, you're not smart enough to be that. In which I got very annoyed, but created a fear and a doubt. Well, she ended up flunking out of a couple of colleges, finally graduated college, and began to get back some of her self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem. However, when I talked to the mother, well, in fact is fact, it's just black and white. And my answer is, well, yes, but people can overachieve. Many people can accomplish many things. Albert Einstein flunked most of his college classes, and he even flunked some of mathematics, believe it or not. And look what a genius he became. People didn't know that. Read the history of him. It's really incredible. And I read about a little bit about Elon Musk, where he grew up in South Africa, where he was beaten, made fun of, and so on and so forth. And look what he overcame. So if we look at all those things, what is unique about us in the human form is you are unlimited. That's my branding. I love that word. And you can do anything. So what is it in a person that stops them from doing that? Well, doubt, fear, anxiety, frustration. And that is something we have to take a look at. But it's also important that you get a teacher or a mentor. And I remember somebody was showing me something on the computer. Well, you do this and this, and you do this and this. I asked him to repeat it 3 times. He went 90 miles an hour. And I said, forget it. He didn't have the patience to want to teach me. So when you teach a person, you have to go to the basics. And the basics is what I would teach my children, which I have, is right action. What is the right thing to do? The second thing is that, you treat others as You want to be treated. That's so important. Now, the problem with treating others as you want to be treated, they don't get it. What percentage? Maybe 50% get it, maybe 40, maybe 20. But you have the inner satisfaction to know that you did right action. Now, by the laws of karma, and they differentiate, as I said, dharma is positive, karma is, let's say, challenging. I don't like the word negative, but I bring it under one umbrella and call it karma. And if we look at that, when you're doing right action, it has to. There is no doubt, nothing could stop it, come back to you, whatever you're doing. You spread love, it's going to come back to you sooner or later. Maybe you got to wait 20 or 30 years, maybe one day, but it has to come back to you. Or if you spread anger, lies, frustration, it's going to come back to you and bite you. So in our vernacular, we talk about a payoff. Okay? Modern times. Spread out love, joy, happiness. You're going to be, your payoff is love, joy, and happiness. Spread fear, doubt, anxiety, hate, insecurity. Payoff is you're going to get the same. We don't understand that or think about it. But what I'm trying to help all of you to realize is that as you lead in life, like I said, you can share your knowledge or you can set an example. And the example you set, you don't know how far it's going to reach. And I remember my son, some of you heard the story, when he was 13, I said it was hot out, and I had a rule like my father brought me out. You're going to have liquor as long as you're drinking in front of me. So I said, let's have a beer. And he had a beer. And he really liked it. And he was allowed to drink alcohol, which, yeah, he did very little at the house. What he did in college, I have no idea. Today, he is a master brewer of beers. Huge, has several restaurants, award-winning restaurants. 13 years old. You didn't know what you were doing, but the impact. And he's a master chef because I used to love to cook and he would cook with me. He loved it. Didn't know that. I didn't know it. And, he went to college and got a degree in microbiology, genetics, so on and so forth. So that's one example. And my daughter is an entrepreneur as well, because I was an entrepreneur. And she's chief financial officer of a large company. I had no idea what I was doing would affect them, except I tried to do right action and correct exchange. Maybe not 100% of the time, but as best as I could. And that's what's so important to you.
I'm glad you touched on that because we lead by our example. Our children are watching us. They're watching our behavior when we handle stressful situations. They're watching, our joy, our laughter, our compassion for one another. They're learning by watching. And for the longest time, I thought, how in the world am I supposed to teach my children when I didn't know myself? Okay. But what I realized is that you don't sit them in a classroom setting and try to teach them anything. You become the model, the role model, and you instill in them the values that are going to carry through their life for their whole entire life. My mom taught me three things, and I'll just say it really quick if that's all right, Michael. Treat people like you want to be treated. Always lead with your heart, and shut the door when you leave.
Cool. Beautiful words of wisdom. Thank you for sharing those. And that's so much we have to really realize. The problem is that we keep looking over our shoulder. Did I say the right thing? Did I do the right thing? Are they going to like me? Are they going to hate me? Are they going to accept me? So if you look at your relationship with friends or family, I'll just arbitrarily pick a number. 50% are going to go, great job. 50% are going, they're going to just say negative words about you. What I began to learn is those that are threatened by you because you're doing the right thing, they will say negative words about you because they're not really enlightened and they're embarrassed. Those that are truly enlightened said, hey, you're doing a great job. And I don't know about you, but I go out of my way when someone does something. I thank them. I tell them I appreciate everything, no matter if it's a waitress, if it's somebody that I just bought up something and purchased and they ring it up, they don't even know me. I always thank them. and I say something pleasant. Look how powerful your words are. I used to love to go into stores and see, like, there was a store back in Boston who was like Nordy's, as we say, Nordstrom's. And I would buy my silk ties. And they were there all the time and they would help me. And I'd always go, I saw the employee, you look great. You know, you have such a great sense of taste and help me with my ties. Oh, and she was like this, smiling. And I made her day. Every time I went in there, I made her day. What have you done to make the day of your children, your family, and your friends? When have you gone out of the way to compliment somebody? To you, it may seem insignificant, but you know what you do? You've just moved Mount Everest 10 feet. This huge, huge mountain, which you change that person for that moment and perhaps for the whole day. And, you know, they talk about the Karens, you know, and whatever they scream and yell. And I don't know what the name of the men's are. They have a name for men's. I don't know what they call them. But look what's happening to our culture. Now it's time for change. The change is within you to listen to your soul, to realize that you are the SOLE, SOUL creator of your life, and you can do anything you desire. You're not a victim. Get out of the victim mode. Psychologists tell you it's not your fault. You are a victim. Now you've placed yourself in that position. So here's the great part, reverse engineer. You got yourself in a position that is terrible. How do you get out of it? Same way you got in it. Walk out and change it. One of the most amazing things for all of you is a secret I'll share with you, but it's knowledgeable. People know it. Choose a mentor. Say, hey, I admire you. I would ask you to mentor me and share whatever you wish with me, and then be open to criticism. The only way this is working is to a very successful person, because they want to share their knowledge. Those who say nope, then they are not successful in their mind. Therefore, they feel threatened. And that's something you have to understand. Just think, you say you want to build the best car and you went to Ford Motor. He'd help you because there's Ford, then there's Volvo, General Motors, Chrysler, Porsche. I mean, there's tons of them. There's always room for someone else. And the most beautiful part about it is they share this information and then you put it to use. You're going to make them creative and more creative, and you're going to be more creative. Years ago, when I was sales manager, a person said, I'm going to have your job in 3 years. I said, that's really great, and I appreciate it. But you just made me sharper than I've ever been. On the other hand, you're going to do better work. And you may be, sales manager of another division or my assistant. But do it. Go for it. I never was in competition and he never took my job away. But that's okay. It made him make more money. I made more money. Bottom line, it's a win-win situation. How are we doing on time? We've got some time left.
Yeah, about 5 minutes.
All right. So everybody, I want to sum this up, and I'll sum it up quickly in the next couple of minutes. And that is, you lead by example. Find the inner strength. Realize that you are the leader of your community, your family, your friends, and even those associates. You don't have to be outgoing. You can do it silently by being successful and sharing your knowledge with others. Yes, there are always a few that will take advantage of you and use it. And they always end up with egg on their face because they will use it and they will just eventually fail. And I've watched it over and over again when I taught my classes and they tried to emulate me. They thought they were great and they always end up failing because it didn't come from within. Everything you do have to come within your soul to be successful. If nothing else, learn to listen to your soul. So thank you, everyone. And would like to share with you that the second Saturday of every month at 9:55 a.m. Pacific Standard Time till 11:01 Pacific Standard Time, it's called Mass Consciousness Healing. That's a favorite thing that I love to do because you and I are here to make a difference. We all know how chaotic things are all over this globe. So it begins with me talking about 2 to 4 minutes. That's about it. We go into silence. 3 or 4 minutes before, I welcome you back. 3 or 4 minutes of little conversation, and then we're done for the month. But everything changes for those who do it. They have a happy, joyous month. They feel good. They feel prosperous. They feel abundant. They feel happy. Right action has to come back to you. Correct exchange. Very, very simple. So everyone, Tia is going to give the information. It's done on freeconferencecall.com. And Tia, would you be so kind?
Absolutely. The number is 202-926-1059. And the access code?
125-446 pound. I love it.
I'll read it one more time. I also put it in the comments section, so it's there for you guys if you can't write it down right now. But it's 202-926-1059. And the access code, Michael?
125-446 pound.
Wait.
So that's the first thing. The second thing I'd like to share with you is every Tuesday evening from 6:30 p.m. Pacific time to 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, I have what I call Soul Awakening, where you can ask anything you so desire, and hopefully I'll be able to answer the questions. And I leave a 10-minute message. And there are 271 or 272 10-minute messages. So first, I'd like to give you the telephone number to call in on Soul Awakening class, and that number is?
Okay, that number is 202-926-1059, and the access code?
125-446 pound. So it's the same number as our second Saturday of every month, Healing the Mass Consciousness. Now, I'd like to share another telephone number, and that telephone number is what I call the replay, and where you can listen to these 271 10-minute messages. Some of them go maybe 12 minutes. And I believe that if you're tired, you're drained, you're angry, you're upset, stuck in traffic, just play the message, and whatever number you choose, because it's going to ask you what number starts from 3 to goes up to 271. Just pick a number, and you're going to say, that's what I needed to hear. You know why? Because your soul is directing you to do that. And that telephone number is?
And that number is 434-300-4170. And the access code?
Identical, 125-446 pound.
I'll give that number one more time. It's 434-300-4170. And the access code, Michael?
125-446 pound. And I would encourage all of you to join us, because it's very important to wake up your soul. Also, on YouTube under Dr. Michael V. Gross, Dr. Michael V. Gross, is that an echo? Yes, it is. You go to YouTube and you can see all the replays of Tia and I, but also those 10-minute messages. They're recorded, but they're onto YouTube. And there are award-winning photography of to you. There's one of my little quotes from the True Source, and you can listen to it audibly as well. So I'd like to share all that with you, because you are here to make a difference. You are the solution to change everything that's going on this planet. It doesn't take very many of us, very few. There weren't very many that decided they wanted to break the yoke of England and become a new country. And we did it. It was the Patriots against the Tories, and eventually we got our freedom from England and became the great country we are. But this whole thing that I'm sharing with you, it happened in every country: Spain, Portugal, France, England. Germany, Austria, Liechtenstein, and so on and so forth, even South American countries. It was that voice of freedom. And that voice of freedom, whoever is listening to you, this, wherever you are, is within you. Listen to it, exercise it, and realize you are the solution to make a difference in this planet. So thank you, everyone. And the last thoughts we want you to have is this is being brought to you by these two books, Healing the Holes in Your Soul by Tia Knapp. It's all about her journey
Yes.
into enlightenment and like the phoenix rising from the ashes. And I encourage all of you to read this.
And this is the amazing book written by Dr. Michael Gross, who woke up my soul and now has his new second edition out. It just came out a couple of weeks ago, and I am thrilled to be one of the lucky people holding it right now. And if it wasn't for this book and that incredible man right next to me, the book he's holding wouldn't have even happened. So I honor you, Michael. Thank you so much for changing my life and making my world so much brighter and better than it's ever been. So I encourage you guys, check this book out first and then get the other one. It makes a great bookend, you know?
Thank you, everyone. We wish you a great day, a great week, and please share our beautiful podcast with everyone, our Facebook Live, because just know we love you and you are unlimited. Namaste, everybody. We love you.
Namaste.
Love you. Take
Take
care.
care.